So it looks like you were going to get a 2-2 and you fancy another year at uni, getting paid to go out, drink a bit, work at the student union, be a bit of a laugh. That was the question that was put to me today in an interview when they were going through my CV about this role. And it made me think about it quite a lot. It made me think, why did I actually run for it back in the beginning? Because I'm a very different person to who I was when I ran for this position in March 2013. I ran for it because I had no idea about politics. I had no idea about guild council or any of this. I was just a security guard working in the guild that had to come in here and check everybody out at 10:45 on a Thursday, and always just stayed a bit later if it went on. And I always just saw these people and thought, what on earth are they doing? And then as I kind of met more and more officer teams, I thought to myself, I'm sure I could do this welfare thing a bit better. I'm sure I could do it my own way. And so I went for it and somehow got it. And so started. And I think that I have learned a massive amount this year. I really, really have. I'm not the same person that I was at the beginning. And I've learned massive things about liberation, around myself, around politics, around left-wing politics. And I think, and it has been massively eye-opening. I started at the beginning of this year with a motto, a bit of a lame motto. But I started this year with a motto, which was that no student should leave this university in a worse state than when they arrived. Now you can take that as you will, but it's very simple. We come to university to develop as a person. Education's a part of it, but really it's to get independence and to learn and to develop and come out with a new emotional intelligence, things like that. And there are an awful lot of students for whom that doesn't happen through various reasons. And I really think that the massive role of the welfare officer, but welfare as a whole, is to help every student have a right to learn and to complete their degree. And I hope that for the various students that I've managed to help this year, on a small scale and on a larger scale, that I've helped to go some of the way to making that happen. I'm going to quickly go over some of my main things that I've been most proud of this year. I think the biggest thing was the change of extension circumstances that comes in next year. I think getting rid of Fit to Sit was fantastic. It took the whole year. I went through 2 big committees where they pulled it apart and I brought it back again a bit different and said please. And eventually it got stamped and it is done now, and next year there will be no Fit to Sit anymore. And so mental health will be taken into account when a student sits an exam. Also, third years will be able to defer their exams rather than having to wait a whole year doing nothing before they can sit the final exams, which just makes sense to me. So I think that's fantastic. On the other end of the scale, I think grad balls went really well. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a huge success, and I was really, really happy, and everyone that was a part of that it was just great. Also this year, rather unusually, I took on the role of kind of dealing with guild membership disciplinaries, and it's part of the role I've really enjoyed. And I think the fact that the ban list has trebled in size this year, and sorry for all the appeals that Poppy's got against those, reflects the fact that actually the zero tolerance policy has been working. And I've dealt with probably around 5 or 6 occasions where the zero tolerance policy has been used in the discipline process and has allowed us to create a safer space within the guild. So I think it really, really has worked, and it's a fantastic policy. So, shooting down a cooker, just kind of on the student front, I think, mentioning the RAs, I don't know if you know, but I think it was one of the first Vice President Welfares to get a present from the RAs, so it really does mean a lot. But I'd like to thank Dave for that, for letting me be a part of it. I think the RAs do a fantastic job. They really, really do. I wasn't an RA myself, but as you know, I've always got stuck in where I can, giving the RAs advice and helping them with stuff, and I've really, really enjoyed that role. With regards to the SAB officer team, again, I think similar to Vicky, because I'm not good at like going all out with feelings here. We'll have one-to-one probably meetings, and we'll sit down, we'll have an agenda, and I'll tell you, what I really think, and compliment you all. But with regards to the part-time officers, Leilani was one of my buddies, and Leilani's been fantastic this year, and you've done so much yourself. You've barely seen it really. You kind of popped in every now and again, but you've just gone and done it, which has been so good. And I know May's not here because May's taking something which is called break, which I think for May is, she has been unbelievable and has become more than just my part-time buddy. She's become a really, really good friend, and me and May have spent hours together every week. And we've both supported each other this year, and I think, she's just done an unbelievable job. And I think, if all the part-time officers could put in as much effort as, Leilani, May, and some of the others have put in, we have an amazing officer team. They really, really have been a massive asset this year. Quickly with regards to next year's team, my biggest bit of advice is, if you switch your phone off in the evening, the world doesn't end. And I think it took me about 4 months to realise this fact, that actually if you do take some time off work, the guild doesn't burn down. It's still exactly the same when you come back 3 days later. And I think that one of the massive areas of our stress that comes with this role is because we have an inability to turn off electronic equipment. There's a lot more to it than just that, but that's a massive part. We're always connected to Facebook. Those of us put our work emails on our iPads and our phones, which we know was a stupid idea, but we did it anyway, which meant that we'd be responding to emails at any time of night. And you just don't need that. So you can turn it off. You can actually do that. And the reason why Dave mentioned that we've had such a tough year, I think the reason why we've had such a tough year is because we've been such a close team. We hit the ground running from the beginning, and I think there was a huge amount of pressure from various staff and students. This was going to be the team that would achieve lots. This was going to be the team that was going to do loads. And I think that pressure on top of us is what made this such a tough year, because the thing was, we have actually achieved loads. And it's one of the things we know we're really bad at, is shouting what we've done this year. But if you actually add up all the things we've done, we were doing things ourselves, like telling people, I looked at my phone and Tom was a carbon bubble down by the library. And I didn't even know he was going to be a carbon bubble down by the library. But he was, we just did these things. We were all doing all these wins. I think for the role of welfare, Frankie's not here, but Colin Maguire, who's the NUS welfare officer, said, tough, not fluff. And I think that for too many years, the welfare officer has been about giving people hugs when they're down and saying, oh, it's all right, and we're going to do this again. And that's not what the welfare officer needs to be. The welfare officer needs to be a proactive, not a reactive thing. It needs to be out there campaigning for changing policy around welfare. It needs to be talking to the university. Counselling and guidance services at Three Elms Road this year have had the lowest waiting list ever, and that's the review that was carried out by the previous welfare officer and implemented this year, and it's been fantastic. They've seen the biggest success and one of the best success rates out of all the universities with their counselling and guidance service. That's what the welfare officer should be doing. It should be making a tangible difference to students' lives. And I think finally I'm going to say, I wasn't going to say thank you to everybody, but I'm going to say thank you to Jess and embarrass her. And anyone else has mentioned that, but Jess has been fantastic this year, and I know that it's been hard at points because I have thrown my all into this job completely, like my home life, everything. And I hope that was reflected in what some of the things that people have said, that although my home life might have suffered a bit, I've thrown everything into this job. And it is going to be bizarre going out into the real world in a month's time and doing whatever it is that I strangely end up doing, but I will not change from the stuff I've learned this year, and I will continue to learn. I will continue to call people out on things when they say things that aren't appropriate. I will continue to call it out when my friends from last year do things which are not okay, and instances of lag culture, which I still see now and I've started doing, and actually I'll carry on doing that, and I'll do that in the workplace next year, because that's the person I am now, and that's me. Short this week.